What's up, Amazon sellers? Are you interested in knowing what my plans are for Amazon USA this February? Well, in this video today, I'm going to share with you my targets and all the things that I'm going to be doing in my Amazon USA business for February. So stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson, and I've been selling on Amazon now for the last 5 years, and I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller in the UK and in the USA as well. So let's get started. Number one, let's give you my recap of my plans for January. Now, I mentioned that we were going to be fixing our month-end reporting. This is an update around, where we're going and what's happening. So if I give you a very high-level overview and then kind of give you a little bit down. So fundamentally, what do? We look at our business, and when we do our reporting, we look at our cost of goods and our usage in that to understand the difference between what our true cost of sales are, cost of goods, and what get reported on tools like SDK or Inventory Labs. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, our true cost of goods is calculated by opening stock plus purchases minus the closing stock. The difference of those is going to be our true cost of goods. Why? Because that's going to account for all like stock loss, stock leakage, returns which didn't turn up, all these little things where money just misses out or goes leaking out of the business, leaking out the bucket, should we say. Whereas the SDK or Inventory Labs is only going to show you what the cost of goods is for those products being sold. Now, there will always be a difference. Why? Because things go missing. We know that. That's welcome to business. But what we want to do is measure the gap between them and understand how big that is, and obviously work to minimize that as much as possible. So for us, we've identified some areas where we're not too sure around. We want to improve our processes and understanding that sales gap, and obviously minimizing that, to allow us to really get in control of it and understand what's happening. So that's one area we're looking to focus on. Now, what else has happened as well? Within January, we actually had a problem where we lost $2,000 in one day. And what do I mean by this? What happened? Well, basically, it was a personal error of our repricing analyst. And what happened is quite simply that we have a set of rules that we work through from a stage of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And our repricing analyst has been quite aggressive with our repricing over the last couple of weeks. Why? Because we wanted to clear down old stock. Now, the one thing we should do is move from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when we've been quite aggressive, sometimes we've skipped some. Now, as we go through those numbers of rules, they get progressively more aggressive repricing rules because the products haven't sold. But what our repricing analyst did is didn't realize this, or made a mistake and basically moved from pretty much like rule 5 to rule 10, and that went from a kind of slightly aggressive to extreme aggressive. What did it do? Well, it was like 6 high value items that dropped from like $700 down to $300 each, massive, and obviously losing us around about $400 per item in actual profitability, and actually cost of goods as well. So that was about 6 units that we sold, which overall lost us $2,000, which is like, oh my God. Definitely something we need to look at, and obviously we've understood the process, and also as well taught all of us within the business the importance of following our process as expected. Now, for us, obviously, when we told our repricing analyst to skip certain parts of the process, we didn't put controls in to say when that shouldn't be done. So that's our mistake, something we need to understand. Definitely, my God, I don't like losing $2,000 worth of stock. Okay, guys, so I've just given you a quick update on my Amazon USA business for January. Now, the question I want to ask is, how was your January? Did you smash it? Did you have to clear down old stock like I did? Maybe you're looking into your accounts if you've got some accounts issues, or maybe even repricing issues. Do let me know down below in the comments. I'm very interested to know how my viewers did in January. Now, this leads me nicely onto my second chapter, which is about plans and what I want to do in my Amazon USA business for February. First thing first, let's talk about revenue goals. Now, in February, I'm going to push it a little bit. We're looking to literally a nice, neat 100K. Why do I say I'm going to push it a little bit? Well, because our February, or should I say our January, is probably going to end up at about 90K. And the reason why I say that is because the team have been pretty good, and I think we're going to have, a good January. We're happy with that repricing, but it could go the other way. We could go down to 80, but I think 100K, let's get a bit optimistic. That's where we're looking at. So a 6-figure month, not amazing, but it's still pretty good. And again, I'm going to be focusing more on making profit rather than pure revenue. So that's something to think about. Now, the second thing I'm going to talk about is to continue to develop our SOPs, our repricing procedures. Again, I talked about earlier on, we lost 2K. Oh my God, I don't like losing 2K, but what we are looking to do is really get that documented. The whole of Q3, we're really refining that repricing process and really maximizing it, because I want to make sure, number one, we're not losing 2K again, but number two is the fact that we really understand our processes and we have them well documented, and we can share them with the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy users as well and help them out in their businesses. Okay, so you might have just noticed I talked about something called the Seller Academy. Now you might be asking, what is it? Well, quite simply, the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy is where I teach my 7-figure framework to support you as Amazon sellers. Quite simply, I've built 2 7-figure Amazon businesses now, and I pretty much run them on a couple of hours per week. And what do I do? Well, quite simply, I have a team, they manage it all for me, but I still hold them accountable. I still know exactly where the business is. I understand all the numbers, and we track them through a really easy dashboard, framework, and how we scale the business up to there. I literally share all of this information and so much more within the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy. And I also give them access to not only me every single week in a group call, but also to my entire team. You can ask my purchasing managers, my admin VAs, my sourcing VAs every single week questions if you want to know about those areas and understand what my team are doing. My God, you can even bring your own VAs in the calls as well to help them learn as well. This is something that I only offer within the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy, and it's for serious sellers who are looking to take their business to the next level, copying my 7-figure framework. If you're interested, have a look at the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy. I'll drop a link down below, or fasttrackfba.com/seller. Now, this leads me nicely onto my third chapter, and that's my personal advice to you. So what can I be talking about? What can I be sharing with you that's going to help you out? Well, look, we've done now 2 7-figure businesses. I'm super happy. And the one thing I actually did do in January, and I've been quite out of the business, is the fact that I had a planning meeting. I was planning about where we're going to take this business, not really over the next year, but over the next 3 years, even 10 years. What's the goal? Why are we doing it? And I'd really recommend that for you. Just think about for you, why are you building this business? What do you want? There's a really interesting thing I said to a friend of mine who I interviewed quite recently, and they also shared back to me because of their success. They said, Tom, you said something, and that something was, once you understand where you want to be in 1, 2, 3, 5 years time, if that goal is that I don't want to be running this business in 5 years time, and if you've made that decision already that in 5 years time I'm not going to be doing it, well, building a team to get you out of this business today is a really easy decision to make. Yes, you want to probably maximize profitability in the short term or make that decision, but you know that every time you delay hiring that VA is just another time or another delay that you're going to have where you're not getting out of the business. And the quicker you understand that and the quicker you make actions towards that long-term goal has such an impact in your business. And there's a saying that Stephen Covey said called "start with the end in mind." And I really believe that when we're thinking about our business. So for you, if you're thinking about growing your business, always think about where you want to be, think about that, and then start making steps towards that. Now, the other thing I'd really look at is our SOPs, look at the way we do our processes and how we do it all. The one thing which I think about in my business is I've got great people, but I also need to make sure that we document what we're doing and the way we do those processes. Because when things go wrong, we can review what happened. Was it a human error or was it a process error? If it's a process error, let's get it fixed. If it's a human error, let's retrain, let's go look at that route. But what we can do is improve our business by improving our processes. And one thing we'll probably look at after the repricing process is we'll look at our cashback process. Not only how we get cashback and what we do, but also auditing it to make sure that our purchasers are actually getting the best cashback, and we're doing that, and having an audit process in place as well. And really for us, when we look at these SOPs, we're really looking at not just how we do it, but also the frameworks of the documents we can report on. We really want to make it so that our team can operate very efficiently. That's the goal. They don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day. And when we ask them, hey, that repricing, what happened that day? They can literally fill out a very quick document, which is they can share back to us and say, hey, I looked into it, I filled out the document, here you go. And it's just a framework, it's a template that's going to give us all the relevant information we need when we ask them to look into anything. But for you, when you're looking at maybe what you're doing this year, right now, December's gone, January's pretty much finished up, February and March really do start to slow down, and we want to really start thinking about improving this business going forward and building your processes, building your team, starting with the end in mind. Cannot stress that enough. Now, what I will say is after going through what I plan to do in my Amazon USA business this February, you might want to learn about growing your business with VAs. So what I'll do is I'll drop a video around here called How Virtual Assistants Grow Your Amazon Business. Check that out. Now, hopefully you like this video. If you have, give me a thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more, do hit the subscribe button and do share this video to anyone who needs it. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson, from Fast Track FBA, thank you very much.